In this video, we are going to be adding annotation content to one of the building sections. What we'll do is we'll make a wall section from this building section right here. So I'm going to go to that view. The sections that I've made, let me expand this a little bit. Structure 1 looking west. All right, so this actually is one of the more important, if not the most important detail in the entire project. Why do I say that? Well, it is going to integrate many of the things that we've been talking about and reading about and kind of looking at in terms of details, in terms of concept of building enclosure. It will kind of explore, or will go into great detail, this detail on wood framing and terminology and all that. What we want to do is create a call out of this wall section right here. So I'm in the view ribbon and I'm going to click on call out, and I will make my call out bubble all the way to this point right here. We'll be making lots of adjustments to this, so don't worry if you don't get it exactly like I have it. I will take this key here and bring it up to the top. I like to be kind of consistent about where these are located. Okay, so we'll put it in line with the other ones. All right, so you should notice that a new call out has been created. You'll see it directly below the one that you're in. And I'm going to call this, I'm going to rename it wall section, all capitals, at structure 1. And we may have more than one, but for the time being, we'll call it wall section at structure 1. All right, now it's alphabetical, so it's going to go to the bottom of the list here. I'm going to double click on it. When you make a call out, Revit will set the scale to be, twice as big as the one that was the parent. We're going to make this actually an even larger scale. We'll go to 3/4 of an inch, and this will allow us to get a little bit more detail. All right, so I'm going to begin adding content to this wall section. One thing I want to do is switch it so that my datums are on the left side. So this is a similar process to what we had done before. Just click on them and reverse the location by clicking on those check mark boxes. We'll have a lot of notation content on the left side here, and we want those to be along with them. Now, I'm going to bring these in a little bit. Let's see if I can grab them. Okay. I'm going to unlock them and drag it over a little bit. We may need to do this one by one, unlocking them. So I think I'll leave it for now until I have a better sense of how far in I want to make it. All right, we're going to begin by adding detail to the roof and the eave, and we'll work our way down to the foundation. So I'm going to start off adding some notes and changing some graphics up here at the top of this wall section. So you think that Revit, with all of its settings, would kind of have these line types and line weights established to work with any kind of detail that you're going to do. But I find you really need to do a lot of kind of tweaking of the line weights. What we see here it's like, it's kind of heavy, and we're going to be adding layers of content. And if these line weights are too heavy, it will make it really difficult to articulate what exactly we're talking about. There's also a lot of overlaps that we'll be repairing as we begin to add more content to this detail. Okay, I'm going to kind of pan so I have this detail slightly to the right, and I'm going to go to manage and over here to object styles. Okay, here's where you're going to find the line weight settings for different elements. So this will take some time, and you may come back and forth to this object styles table and make adjustments as we go along. Detail items, I'm going to leave that for now. If we go to ceilings, we'll start here. All right, so anything that's cut that's on the ceiling is a ceiling component, is given a pretty heavy line weight 5. I'm going to drop these down substantially to line weight 2. Now, if you wanted to change these line weights, whatever thickness is assigned to 2, that's something that you would do in another place. But for the time being, let's just make that change, and I'm going to apply it and click on OK. Now, maybe you saw that this line weight right here dropped down to a lighter one. All right, and I'll continue going through some of these other items and adjusting them. The floors, I'm going to do the same thing for the floors, which you won't be able to see in the preview over there on the right, but roofs, same thing. 2 walls. Now, of course, generally speaking, you want to articulate things that you're cutting with a heavier line weight, but we'll be adding so much detail that it won't be an issue. All right, now let's find out where the fascia is, if it's its own item here, or if it's a subpart. It may be under, let's see here, soffits. Go back up to roofs, see if it's under here. Fascias, here's fascias, it's also 5. We're going to make this 2, gutters 2, and let's see here, soffits also 2. Okay, so now you can actually see the profile of the material when you zoom in a little closer. All right, now we have a roof deck right here, 3/4 of an inch, and then we have asphalt shingles that sit on top. Now we're going to add some detail lines that show the shingles and how they'll kind of nest on top of one another. Before we do that, though, we will draw in here a drip edge. Right now, the gutter is shown going all the way up to the top here. I'm going to drop it down a little bit. I'm going to click on it, and I'll have an option to change the vertical profile offset. I'm going to say minus ½ inch. See how that looks. Apply. Maybe we'll bring it down a full inch. What do I do? Minus -1 inch. There we go. Okay. And then we'll draw a drip edge that passes over the top of this fascia. The fascia also, I'm going to drop that so it doesn't sort of stick up above the subfloor layer. So let's make that -5 inches also. Oops, not -5, -0.5 inches. There we go. Okay, and then we can start to add some detail. So At this level, sometimes you need to bring in various kinds of components. Other times you'll be using some of those just basic line drawing tools. So I'm going to go to annotate and I'm going to click on detail line here. Right now it's set to thin lines. I'm going to change it to a medium line. And I'm going to start drawing this drip edge. Now, what is a drip edge? They come in different shapes. This is one example. It basically will sit at the edge of the roof. The shingles will come and rest on top of it, but it basically is providing a pathway for water that's on the roof to drop down the edge and drip into the gutter. So I'm going to draw something that approximates what you see here. So the dimensions for this, again, it's going to vary based on the manufacturer. If you look at detail F here, or dimension F, you can see here approximately 3 inches or so is that dimension. And then B here, which is where it's dropping down. Let's take a look at what we have for that. B1, 1.5, really depends on the type. The table on the top there is copper. The next one is aluminum. What metal should you use? Well, it really it's depending on your budget and some aesthetic decisions. Copper would be more expensive. Aluminum is going to be less expensive. One thing you want to be aware of, though, is you have to be careful when it comes to various metals. Placing them next to each other can cause some corrosion if you start to mix certain kinds of metals. So I'm going to, make an assumption that this is an aluminum profile and the gutter is aluminum and all of that, so that I don't have this issue with metals mixing and the corrosion that can resist due to galvanic action. So in my Revit model, again, I'm just approximating this now. In the detail, we'll call out what these things are. But, all right, so 3.5, 3.25, or something like that. And then what I'm going to do is offset it by, let's try 1/4 inch. And now I have a couple of extra ones here. Don't need this one, don't need this one. And I'm going to also sort of extend it a little bit so that it comes into the gutter. And then I will continue to add a few more lines to create this profile. Come back. And again, if yours isn't exactly like what I have here, that's fine. We're just going to give it a little profile like that. So here I have this bent aluminum component, and what I'm going to do here is click on them by holding down the control key. And then I'm going to go to annotate where it says detail group. I'm going to create a detail group. I'm going to call it drip edge and say okay. Right, so now any water that comes on top of the shingles will come over here and it will drip into the gutter. All right, now this is my layer. These 2 lines here is my layer of asphalt shingles. Do you need to show the profile of the shingles? You know how they are kind of layered and sort of stack on top of one another. No, but this is an exercise that we'll do just to kind of go through the steps. So I'm going to create a circle here that is 12 inches. Okay, and then I'm going to draw a line from this point here to this point here, and I'm going to offset this line and I will erase. I just offset it 2 times by 2/4 or by 1/4 of an inch. Okay. Okay, and kind of would like it to sit a little higher to clear that drip edge, just to give a little space. All right, now I'll draw another one, another circle. So draw the 12-inch one, and then I'll do another one that's 12 inches. Now I want, I'm going to do a second one. Instead of making it 12 inches, I will make it 10 inches. Oops, what happened there? Just a line. Okay. Try that one more time. Detail, circle. And I'm working with these circles because I have this angles to calculate. And all right, now from this intersection, I will make another circle. You know, shingles have this overlap, and we're just going to sort of suggest okay. Detail line from that 10-inch circle to here, offset 1/4 of an inch, erase the original one. Let's offset one more time. Okay, and let's copy this from this one to this one. We get our overlap. We do not get the overlap we want. Okay, I'm going to delete this one. Let's copy this one more time. Copy, to get the overlap, we're going to copy from this point to this point. There we go. And you can go up the length of the all right. If you always use the same kind of reference point from here to here, you'll get a consistent placement of these. Okay, you can make more copies if that helps. Okay, and they'll start to disappear outside of the and I can get rid of these here. Okay, now we have something that looks a little bit like a shingle. That'll work for the purposes of our drawing here. Okay, now we're also going to be going and bringing in some details. Now I'm looking under detail items, dimension lumber. Didn't give me anything. Let's see what our problem is with this one. I'm searching for detail items and let's get rid of my prior search term here. Let's try them again. Dimension, lumber, What am I doing wrong here? All results. Okay. Profiles would. Okay, I've gone back to the base directory here. I'm going to click on detail items and let's try this again. Heavy timber section, nominal cut lumber section. Let's check this. Load. Okay. So we are going to begin bringing in some 2x members. So this is the one that's a 1x6. 2x6 is one we're going to need. And we'll need some other ones as we go along, but for now that will work. Okay, I brought that in. Now, where do you find these? When you go to annotate component, this is where you'll start to see some of these two-dimensional objects. I'm going to bring one in and place it here. You can see that my line weights are really heavy. And if we have too many of these, it just will make it very difficult to sort of see what we're looking for or looking at. So I'm going to go back to my settings here, detail items, and I don't know why you would do any detail item. So heavy, let's see here. Let's try the 2. And I'll also change the medium also to 2 and say, okay, there we go. That's better. Okay, now let's take this and we'll rotate it. And we can begin moving them into place. This will be a top plate. Okay, and it's going to cover up that ceiling that let the drywall kind of come through here. Of course, I'm going to have a top plate. Okay, and I can start. Let's put a plate at the floor. All right, a really nice feature of Revit is the insulation tool. So in this wall, we are going to have some bats. Okay, this is not our super high R value wall that we've been talking about. This is a pretty standard wall. I'm going to click right there. Okay, now when you click on the bat insulation, we want it to fill the whole cavity. It's by default the thickness of a 2x4. Let's change this to 5.5. So it fills that entire cavity. And our ceiling joists, what size did we make them? We made them, oops, 2x8s. So you can see here 7.25 is our actual dimension. And we'll put some bats up there as well. Go to annotate, insulation, bring them across and let them die past the bubble there. Insulation width, 7.25 inches. Okay, I don't know why it's not centering. 5/8. There we go. Half of 7.25 is 3 5/8. All right, moving along. Next, we will resolve some issues with the lines overlapping one another. This is my layer of exterior finish, and it would not go up into the soffitted region. So as this is part of a wall assembly, I'm going to use a masking tool to conceal that. The sheathing, which is right here up against the studs, would continue up there. So how do you create a mask? If you go to the annotate ribbon and go to this pull down masking region, we can make a rectangle here, but what it's going to do is it's going to create thin lines around it, and I don't want that. I want the lines surrounding the mask to be invisible. So I'll click here, and then I'll come down and click here and hit the check mark. Okay, now I'm going to pull it over just a little bit more so we don't see it at all, and we may need to do some cleaning up of some stuff in here, but that will happen a little bit later. Okay, now what's happening here is one of these members is passing in front of the other. So, you know, we want to see one of these as a hidden line type, and it's a little bit tricky because it's difficult to sort of mask a line like that. Maybe there's ways of trimming it, but I'm going to use another technique. Maybe you have something that works better. I'm going to the Manage ribbon. Under Additional Settings, I'm going to go to Line Styles. Okay, so I'm going to expand the line category. These are all of the current line styles that are in the project. I'm going to create a new one called Dashed White. Let's see how it looks. So I'll click on this one. Let's see. No, I don't want to use that one. Well, it doesn't really matter. I'll click on this one that's called Wide Line, and I'll create a new subcategory. I'm going to call it Dashed White. And I'm going to say, okay. I'm going to change the color to white. And I'm going to change the line type to, let's try -1/8. And I'm going to change the width to, okay. And then I'm going to say, okay, apply and okay. And I'm going to make a new line, go back to Annotate, Detail Line, and I'll look for this new style that I made called Dashed White. And let's just see if I draw over the top, what happens. Okay, it's not bad. I will, let's try to make an adjustment, change the spacing to be a little bit closer. Manage Additional Settings, Line Styles, expand it. Let's see if I change it to -330 seconds, apply, okay. Maybe that's a little bit better, okay. Okay, and I have this little extra line here that I kind of want to conceal that one as well. Again, there's probably a better way to do this, but I'm going to create a mask right there and hit the check mark. So that's gone, and I'll still have to kind of come back and repair a few things. Detail line, I'm going to come back and replace a line here that I had masked over. It's a little bit heavy. I think my medium lines are too heavy. So I'm going to create a new line type, line style. This one, it's thin lines are 1, medium lines are 3. I'm going to create one that's called thin medium, and I'll make that 2. So it's the same weight as some of these other lines. And then I'll click on this line here and change it to my new one, thin medium. Okay. So as you can see, there's a lot of fussy work that happens when it comes to working in details. We'll continue in the next video.